So here I am at the 45-minute mark of the game, and I have a +6 Death Poker, which is arguably one of the best weapons in the entire game. I think it's top 5. I have Carrion Slicer, Night Comet, which are like the 2 best sorceries in the game. I have TERRA Magica, which boosts my magic damage. I have Golden Vow. I have 7 +3 flasks. I also have the Magic and Intelligence tier. And I also have the Meteorite Staff as well. And I did all of this in 45 minutes without going to the Altus Plateau, without using any skips, no glitches, no bugs, nothing like that. And this video is going to show you exactly how I did do it. Now, if you're a brand new player, I don't recommend doing this because honestly, I'm going to be speaking from the frame point that you know what's going on. You're probably going to get kind of confused. I just made a beginner's guide and how to start off the game like a few days ago. You can check that video out. But yes, for today, I just wanted to highlight like how to make a really good intelligence build very early. I can make this for all different types of builds. So if you want me to make like a faith, strength, dexterity based version, just let me know down in the comments. I can easily make one of those. And I already know there's going to be people in the comments saying like, oh, why would you want to do this? This is going to make the game too easy and broken. How is this fun to anybody? Like sometimes it can be fun, okay? Like for me, this is probably like the most fun thing about the game. Just using the knowledge that I have in the game and knowing where everything is and knowing what's good and planning out my pathing to try and get as overpowered as possible and try to speedrun it as well. And this video was honestly really fun to make. So I'd be glad to make something like this again. But anyway, let's just get started. Okay, so to start off, we have the Samurai class, and we're going to go with the Cracked Pot as well. Now, the reason as to why we have the Samurai class is because it does actually have a little bit of Faith and Arcane, which we're not going to be speccing into their stats at all. So that's going to be beneficial there. It actually does have some higher dexterity, which the Death Poker does have a higher type of dexterity requirement. And also, it does start off with the Uchigatana, which having a bleed weapon to go kill Grail with, without having to go find another bleed weapon and go pick one up from elsewhere, is going to be very handy. I also did start off with the Cracked Pot keepsake is because we're going to be using some holy pots and just getting as many cracked pots as possible is going to be nice because we're going to be killing the Deathrite bird to get the Death Poker, and the Deathrite birds are very annoying to deal with, so the holy pots are going to be very nice. Now this is going to start off the game like you normally would. Just go to the Church of Ella, light up the grace there, go to the gate front, get your horse, go down here to go get your wet blade knife so you can actually infuse, or the whetstone knife, so you actually can go infuse your weapons. Now at this point, I'm obviously going to have some sped up type of gameplay. You can actually go slow this video down if you want to. I'm going to go like run past a whole bunch of different types of graces because obviously I don't really need them. I'm just here to show you guys how to actually get everything as quickly as possible. Now I did talk to Bok there because he actually does give you 10 mushrooms because you need mushrooms to go craft some pots. Also going to go across this bridge and go get the Somber 1. We can actually buy these later on in the playthrough, but it is going to save us 2,000 runes. So that's pretty helpful. Is going to be a Gold Pickled Foulfoot up here, which Gold Pickled Foulfoots just further increase your rune acquisition, which we're going to be getting some pretty decent runes early on because we're going to be going to the Dragonbarrow. We're going to go right down here to go kill this Pumpkinhead Man because past the Pumpkinhead Man is going to be Selen, which that is going to be an NPC that does sell some sorceries, and we can give her a scroll to actually go get Carrion Slicer. Now, the Pumpkinhead Man is like weak to slash damage. He can be bled out pretty quickly, so the Katana would make very quick work of him. Just keep spamming those like weapon skill and unsheath R2 attacks. It will just like poise break him straight away. At this point, let's go head south. There actually is going to be a grace to like kind of where the right of where I am. You can go pick that up first. I'm just going to go to the left to go get a scroll, which that scroll we can take back to Selen and actually go get to Carrion Slicer. I'm not going to do it right now, but we're just going to go pick up the scroll. Since we are here, it's right next to this nobleman. We're going to continue to head south because we're going to go head to the Weeping Peninsula to go grab a couple of things. The Faith tier, going to get some bleed grease, and we're also going to get the Sacred tier, I believe. Yes. When approaching this bridge, definitely stick to the left side so you don't get hit by the ballista. Definitely pick up that Stone Sword key as well because we will be needing that Stone Sword key. But from this point, just go hug right all the way until you go get to the Faith tier. I don't know why I'm not going around the right side. It's actually easier to go that way. But yes, the reason as to why we're going to go get the Faith tier is for a couple reasons. One, so we can actually get some more damage out of the holy pots. I don't know why I'm going into the middle. Definitely go to the right. And we're actually going to need it to get the minimum requirements for the Tree Spear weapon, which the Tree Spear has Sacred Order, which actually does do more damage to undead enemies, which is going to further improve the damage of our holy pots to the Deathrite bird to make it like die in like 2 or 3 hits with a holy pot, which would be really nice. But yeah, after you go pick up that Faith tier, just circle around the big cliff. And to the left of this church is going to be the bleed grease. There's going to be 2 of them, which you're going to use those to go kill Grail just even faster. You might as well pick it up, just makes the experience just less tedious. And there is a Sacred tier there as well. You can continue along west, I think it is. Just keep hugging the right wall past the Weeping Peninsula. And there is going to be another church that does have another Sacred tier if you wanted to pick that up. But from here on, we're going to go back to the gate front and just go upwards. go grab the golden seed that is here and go rest at the Stormhill Shack. Actually, is going to be another stone sword key here as well. But from this point, we're going to go grab Golden Vow. We're going to go kill Alexander, unfortunately. We're here to get overpowered early, not get overpowered later in the game, because yes, Alexander does drop a talisman that actually gives you 10% more damage to your skills. I actually did pick up this strength tier. You don't really need this strength tier, but since we're here, might as well pick it up. Directly to the right of me is going to be Bernal, which is at the War Master Shack, which he actually does sell a bunch of Ashes of War. So you actually can go to him if you want to. We don't really need him. We just need to go get this Ash of War of this guy. This guy actually does drop the Golden Vow Ash of War. Now, to kill him, just go 2 heavy attacks of Unsheath, which that will instantly kill the horse. Then he'll be vulnerable to a riposte attack, and that is Golden Vow. And good thing about Golden Vow is that it's 10% more damage, 10% more defenses for free, basically, because Ash of Wars have no requirements. You can put them on anything. Now, at this point, I'm just like running past like a whole bunch of items. You can go pick up the lance and the exalted flesh that was back there if you wanted to. We don't really need it. But yeah, at this point, we're just going to go free Alexander. You don't actually need to free him to do his quest line. So you can just completely skip him if you actually do want to keep him alive. We're just here to kill him because I just rather have the 10% more damage now. Because you do get the 15% version of that talisman, but it's all the way in Farum Azula. And I don't really care to wait that long because obviously we're just here to make an OP early guide. But if you do plan on playing this game a lot and in New Game Plus, I recommend just leaving him alive. Now at this point, at this merchant, we're going to go buy the Cracked Pot. And I do buy the Short Sword here as well. Now the Cracked Pot is obviously so we can get some more pots. I think we'll end up getting about 7 pots, which will be more than enough for the Deathbird. But the reason I just went for the Short Sword is so I can have like a lighter weapon to go equip Golden Vow onto. Because I can just have it into my back pocket to switch to it, then use Golden Vow. And obviously that buff will just last about 45 seconds. Now, I recommend just going with a dagger instead, because the daggers is going to be lighter, and you can get that at the Round Table Hold, but I just wasn't bothered to run to the merchant at the Round Table Hold, so I just recommend going with that one instead. I did actually run past a whole bunch of, like, golden runes next to the grave sites, and the Sleep Cookbook. You can go pick those up as well. I'm just, like, running past them, because I'm just showing you the things that are necessary to actually get this build done. And honestly, I just wanted to, like, do it in, like, 45 minutes. You'll probably see me a bunch, like, checking the time to see, like, how long I actually aim into the run. Because like I just really wanted to get it done in 45 minutes. This is like my second attempt. My first one was like 50 minutes. I'm like, you know what? I could probably get this in 45. So I kind of was just doing this for myself, kind of. But at this point, we're going to go grab all these tarnished sunflowers because these actually do help us. But we're going to need those for the holy pots to craft holy pots. I do recommend continuing heading south after you go pick those up and the spiked crack tier, because down there is Fort Height. And that is obviously important to clear up because you get the medallion and there is another golden seed over there. So I recommend just keep doing that, going that way. And then coming back to the third Church of America, take the portal behind to go to the Dragonbarrow, because obviously here there's a bunch of rune farming of which we can do and get a whole bunch of runes early. There is a grace to the right of which I walked past. You can go pick that up if you want to. I'm just here to just speedrun kind of, so yeah. But yes, we're going to be killing this Knight Cavalry on the bridge. I recommend just going straight past him and hitting the grace behind him, just in case that you do die, because obviously this is an end game area, and these bosses will definitely one-shot you. But the way to kill this boss is to ledge kill him. You have to make him go onto like the lesser side of the platform, the one to the right of directly where you are. If he lands on that platform, go run back out and try to bait him around. And then, because we have to be on that platform, and he has to be directly there. So just to where the right of where my character is, if he goes right there, then all you got to do is like to stay to the edge of the cliff and wait for the jumping attack. You have to be like a bit further back to try and bait out the jumping attack. And then when he does, just use the gold pick on Foulfoot. I think I show a replay of how to do it. Yeah. Yeah, so just bait him off to the right side. He always has to be on that right side. There are easy ways to do this, but I just like to do it this way because it's consistent. It doesn't require like kukris or any throwing knives, nothing like that. But it works basically every single time. This is what I do every single playthrough. And it works like 90% of the time. Sometimes you die because you just missed the dodge, but it is what it is. But definitely have the gold pickled Foulfoot equipped. And as soon as he dies, just pop it, because obviously in this game, bosses take a while to give you the runes. And if you just use it, if you get it off in time, you end up getting like about 20% more, I think it is. Because he normally gives you about 40,000 or 45,000. We actually have 55,000 or 56,000 right now. So that's obviously a lot better. But going up here to get the Memory Stone, because obviously we're going to go with a spell-based build, and Memory Stones just give us some more spells to hold. And these are going to be some like higher level golden runes. We actually think we'll use a couple of those. I think we're actually, 17 minutes into the game at this point, which is very nice. Now, obviously, if you're doing this, it probably won't end up being 45 minutes. I recommend just going taking a bit of detours to get some more graces, get some more golden seeds, and some sacred tears. So it'll probably end up taking you like about an hour maybe, but that's still perfectly fine. I just wanted to do it 45 minutes because, you know, it sounds cool. It sounds cool. But yes, here is Fort Faroth. We're going to go inside of here to go get the Radagon Source Seal. We're going to pick up the medallion along the way because it's literally right up here. But the reason we're going to get the Radagon Source Seal is to meet the minimum requirements for the Tree Spear, because it does actually have a 22 dexterity requirement. And we're only going to be at 17 dexterity because the Death Poker has that as a minimum requirement. So the Radagon Source Seal does give us +5 to Strength, Dexterity, Vigor, and Endurance. Definitely pick up that golden rune there as well, because it actually gives us like 7,500, I think it is. But yes, enemies were aggroed onto me, so I'll just quit out to a reset enemy position. And then we're going to go teleport back to Fort Faroth. And then when we rest, yeah, Melina should spawn in. She'll take us to the Round Table Hold. We're not going to do anything at the Round Table Hold. I don't really need anything there. I recommend go picking up the dagger, so you can put golden about onto the dagger, because it's like a lot lighter. Because that's like really the only purpose of the dagger. But at this point, we're going to go back to the first step, because there is going to be another gold pickled Foulfoot here. And we're going to need that to go kill Grail. We don't really need it to kill Grail, but is this going to give us more runes? I think she would normally give you about like 80,000 when you kill Grail, or like 70,000. I forgot what it is, but when you have the gold pickled Foulfoot, I'm pretty sure it gives you like over 90,000, which is obviously a lot higher of a number. So yeah, definitely pick up that one there. And then now we're just going to go equip Bleed Grease onto the Uchi Katana and this one-handed the Katana, because like it's a faster moveset, and just go to town. I'm pretty sure I skipped the gameplay, because obviously it takes like a couple of minutes to like hit her to like actually end up completing the full bleed proc. This actually is faster if you do pick up the Spiked Kestis, which is like the merchant all the way at the end of the Dragonbarrow, but the Uchi Katana does it perfectly fine. It won't take that long. It'll take both of your bleed greases. I think both of them will end up wearing off. But as soon as she dies, definitely pick use the gold pickled Foulfoot. And as you can see right now, we have 150k souls, which is more than enough. But now we're going to go head south to this church over here, which we get another sacred to. And we're just going to go level up and go head to the Celia town, because there's going to be some stuff that we need over there. At this point, I think I level up to 28 dexterity. Now, the reason I'll go to 28 dexterity is purely because of Night Comet, because Night Comet has a 38 intelligence, 38 intelligence requirement. And if you use the intelligence tier, we'll actually end up meeting the requirements. Now, if you don't care about using Night Comet early on in the game, just probably go to about like 20-something dexterity, and you can probably put those rest of those points into Vigor, because I do only have 15 Vigor at this point, and 15 Endurance and Mind. So honestly, if you don't really care about Night Comet, I probably put a bit of those points into Mind and Vigor, so you can just have some more FP and more HP. But now at this point, we're just going to go run down to the Celia town, just go across the branches. For this branch, definitely jump off your horse, because riding on your horse down there can be pretty janky. You might just end up like sliding off and dying. But now we're going to go all the way to the southwest side and light up the torch to the southwest, because that one is going to net us the Night Comet. You actually can go light up the rest of them if you want to, but this is the only one that we really need, because Night Comet is like one of the best spells in the entire game. It probably is the best sorcery to have, because it does a lot of damage, it's really quick, and enemies don't see it, so they just get hit by it, they can't dodge it, they can't import read it. It's just really good. That one and Carrion Slicer are like the top 2 best spells in the game. But yeah, at this point, just keep heading northwest, just hug the right wall until we get to the Celia Crystal Tunnel, which this is a tunnel of which when you go take the trapped chest in Limgrave, it'll teleport you here. But we're not going to go through the tunnel right now, because that boss actually does drop a Somber 6 at the end of the tunnel, which we'll end up getting that later on once you end up getting the Death Poker. But now we're going to go outside of it and hug the right wall, because down here is going to be a Somber 5. And obviously, that's going to be very beneficial to get to a +6 Death Poker. Now, unfortunately, there's no like early way to get a Somber 7. The earliest is going to be at the Volcano Manor, which there is like ways to do it. If I could have made this like an hour-and-a-half video and probably gotten a Somber 10. But for the sake of saying 45 minutes instead of an hour-and-a-half, +6 is pretty cool anyway. +6 is more than fine to have early game. But yeah, at that point, we'll just go hug the right side, because that's the meteorite stuff that we got right there. And the meteorite stuff is the best stuff to have early game, because it doesn't have... You don't need to upgrade it all. It already comes like fully upgraded. No need to upgrade it. It already gets an S scaling and intelligence. The scalings are perfectly fine, and I've done plenty of sorcery runs. I've done dozens of sorcery runs, and every single one has basically used the meteorite stuff, and they've carried me from start to finish. I didn't have to change it or upgrade it at all. If you did have like 60 or 70 intelligence, then using that Lusat stuff or the carrying Regal Scepter will end up being better. But like you have to upgrade those, and if you bother to upgrade them, they're definitely going to be like a very good upgrade. But the meteorite stuff is still perfectly fine. Now at this point, I do jump off here because it is the fastest way down to the tree spear. You can just go the regular way because there is a church there that actually leads to a sacred tier. You can go down and hit up the grace, and there's a merchant over there as well. But yeah, this is going to be the tree spear, which this thing has sacred order, which is a weapon buff that actually adds more damage to undead enemies. I think it's like 100% more damage to undead enemies. And for whatever reason, it actually does work alongside spells and pots as well. To the left of me was actually a grace. And all the way to the left of pretty much where I am right now, that is basically the start of LIURNIA. That is where like the merchant is, and that is like where the first grace tends to be. So you can just run directly right of there, and you end up being exactly where I am. Now we're entering this little ruins part right here to get the 2-finger heirloom. Now this actually gives us +5 to faith. We don't need this talisman at all, but actually will just result in a little bit more damage with our holy pots, which I don't think really makes much of a difference. I think it dies in like 3 hits anyway, but we just picked it up because why not? Going through that portal will lead us directly to this area, which is directly outside the Raya Lucaria. And now at this point, we're going to go grab, I think, the Academy key and go unlock the dungeon. Not going to go through the dungeon, but we're just going to unlock it because that dungeon does lead us to Terra Magica. All I do is fucking yap. I'm just yapping all the time. I need to stop yapping. Look, the video's like at ×2 speed. I talk really fast. I always get plenty of people in my comments saying like, I always watch your videos at like ×0.5 speed because you talk too fast. But now the video and the gameplay is at ×2 speed. So if you watch the video at 0.5 speed, it actually balances out. No repercussions at all. 500 IQ. But yeah, this is the cave of which I was talking about that has Terra Magica. We're not going to go through there right now because the Crystallians at the end of this area, they're very annoying to fight against. So we might as well do it later when you actually have an upgraded weapon. But yes, now we're going to go to EG, jump off the left side. If you actually land on like the little ledge and you fall off, you end up dying. So just jump directly from the platform all the way over. You want to be at least 13,000 runes because that's what you need to go buy all the Somber Stones of EG. So just use one of your golden runes if you don't have at least 13,000 at this point. But yeah, directly where honestly, I'm not going to bother telling where all the graces are. You guys should know where all the graces are. There's a grace right here. It's perfectly fine. But yes, he will actually sell you the Somber 1s through 4. Already picked up a Somber 1 early in the playthrough. We just need a Somber 2, 3, and a 4. Obviously, we don't have the Death Poker right now, so there's no need to... we can't infuse it into anything, or we can't upgrade anything right now. I changed it to nighttime. I changed it to daytime because I'm going to go back to the Church of Ella. And normally when you go back to the Church of Ella at nighttime, Ronnie spawns in, and I don't want to talk to her right now because it's going to waste my time. It's going to ruin my speed run. So, but you can leave it at nighttime. It's perfectly fine. But yeah, I dropped down there to go get the intelligence tier, which is +10 to intelligence. Which, yes, the Death Poker does scale better of dexterity, but for the sake of getting more spell damage and more damage out of the weapon skill, because the weapon skill purely scales of intelligence, you're just best going all into intelligence because it's the best part about the weapon. But yes, go talk back to CAELID, buy the cookbook, buy the 3 cracked pots, and buy the missionary cookbook, because that's the cookbook that you need to go craft the holy pots. And now we're going to go ahead and kill the Deathrite bird. I have at least 2 or 3 FP flasks. Definitely put on the faith tier. Put on Golden Vow onto your dagger that you probably bought. And definitely change it back to nighttime. I think I changed it back to nighttime now. Yeah, because you can only fight the Deathrite bird at nighttime. But yeah, have at least a couple flasks. Have your tree spear equipped. Have a Golden Vow on something. And have the Radagon Soul Seal equipped as well. Oh, and definitely craft the pots, yes. You should have at least 7 pots. But having the Radagon Soul Seal equipped means that you actually have the minimum requirements. And once you use the faith tier, you end up, yeah. And after using the faith tier, then you have the minimum requirements. And it's getting a bunch more damage. But yes, just use all your buffs first. I don't know why the Sacred Order is like a weapon buff, but it makes, like, it works with like pots and spells as well. I'm not sure if that's a bug, but yeah. You can actually use Shed Order or the Golden Epitaph weapon skill, and it probably ends up making you do more damage, because that's better to have than Golden Vow against undead enemies, but those are all like Altus Plateau. And honestly, we're doing perfectly fine damage now, as you can see. It does 60% damage if you land it to the head. I think if you hit like a body shot, it's more like 40% damage. But yeah, it does plenty of damage. Now, the way to do it and hit him from here, definitely be on this exact rock here. I end up showing you a replay anyway. But wait for him to stop moving, lock onto him, and then aim a bit up. Like lock off and then aim a bit up. And then you should hit him directly. Honestly, it's kind of hard to tell you exactly like the distance where you need to be at. After you have like thousands of hours in the game, you kind of just know. The secret formula is say Kobe. Every single time that you throw something, to say Kobe. But yeah, basically lock onto him, lock off, then aim upwards, and then just aim and just throw it. If you end up running out of materials, that's fine. You can just go farm some more. You can just go teleport back. There's plenty of... I'm pretty sure all those sunflowers end up respawning. If you want more mushrooms, go back to the Stormhill Shack. And I'm pretty sure there'll be mushrooms directly behind it. But you can just keep crafting a bunch of holly pots every single time. So if you run out, it's perfectly okay. Just keep going until you kill it. It should take like 3 hits. But wait for him to stop moving. So just crouch behind the thing. But at this point, we were to go upgrade the weapon. We went back to EG. We got the weapon to +5. Now we're going to the other side of Ray Lucaria. So we enter the one way, then we exit the other way, then it takes us here. I'm going to run past a bunch of graces here. There was one to the left. I recommend taking the left path because I went to like the right side of the main road. If you go to take the left side of the main road, it actually does take you to a church, which that church is going to have a sacred to. And at the end of this path is going to be the lift, the Dectus lift that takes you to the Altus Plateau. So you might as well hit up the grace that's next to that area as well. And if you just go to the right of that lift section, it actually does lead up to where we're going to be. There's like a path that leads up here. So you don't have to actually take the right path. I'm just taking the right path because it's quicker. And I don't care about getting anything else. Except for the magic tier that is going to be up ahead. Because that's going to result in 15% more damage to your magic. There 15% more magic damage for 3 minutes. There's going to be a grace right here. I think I put on the intelligence tier at this point. Yeah. I put on the intelligence tier because that is going to result in more damage. I said 38 minutes there. So we're 38 minutes into the game at this point. We're basically kind of done. We're just grabbing like a couple more things. But yeah, before every single fight, just use your Wanderer's Flask. Use your Golden Vow. And when enemies are at a distance, use like the projectile part of the Disc Poker. Because it does frostbite up incredibly quickly. And once enemies are frostbitten, then at that point you can do whatever you want to. I think the trail attack, like the R1 version, will end up just doing like more damage. I think because it does some like nicer damage over time. But the explosion is like so satisfying to use, and I think it does more stance damage, so like it's just fun. But I don't think it's necessary. It takes a while for like the magic tier to spawn, so don't teleport straight away. Just wait a little bit until it spawns in and then teleport. But now I put points into like Vigor because Vigor is obviously important. Put on the magic tier, so you actually have the magic and the intelligence tier. And now we teleported back to the cave. Now this cave is going to have Terra Magica for us. I don't have a lantern, so I'm kind of like fucking confused as to where I'm going. But just go all the way straight until you can't really go anywhere further. You take a left. I try to buff early because buffing outside of the boss fog is kind of cringe. Then take a right after you enter that area, and then just run straight to the boss fog. Because there's a guy to the left that shoots at that big giant cannon explosion. If you like delay any time, it's just going to hit you. It doesn't one-shot you, but it's just annoying. Okay, now for this boss fight, these Crystallians, obviously they're weak to distraction type damage. We don't have striking damage, and I think they resist to magic. But like the way to like kill them is that you have to poise break them. So I'm trying to use attacks that can poise break very quickly, which the weapon skill explosion does do it and actually does send them flying. But this guy with the fucking spear is so annoying. He keeps attacking you and he keeps canceling the animation. So I just recommend just using like heavy attacks or jumping heavy attacks. But thankfully for the guy with the staff that shoots out the spells, he's actually a lot slower. So you can just use the weapon art explosion every single time. As you see in like 2 explosion attacks, it just poise break him. So like, yeah, it makes quick work for him. A +5 Death Poker will do that. With all the buffs in the world, Golden Vow and the magic tier. You're laughing. Oh, definitely equip the Warrior's Jar Shot as well. For before you even fight the Erdtree avatar, because that's going to be 10% more damage. It helps and it stacks with everything else. But yes, at the top of this little elevator is going to be Terra Magica, which that actually summons a magic pool in the ground that gives you 35% more damage to magic when you're standing inside of it, which 35% of damage is a lot. Now, yes, it does result in you having to stand inside of that pool, but like 35% damage is like the best buff in the entire game. But at this point, go teleport back to Selene, give her the scroll, and then go buy Carrion Slicer, which Carrion Slicer is like the easiest sorcery to use. It's so fast, does a lot of damage. It's very cheap. It's like really good. You probably don't even need it because the Death Poker is just going to be amazing. But like for the sake of getting like the best sorceries within 45 minutes, why not? But now we're teleporting back to the Celia Crystal Tunnel because we're going to go kill the boss at this section that gives us a Somber 6. Just follow my pathing. It's not that complicated of a dungeon. It's just really annoying because of those fucking idiots. They keep spamming that stupid white stuff. There's going to be a bunch of smithing stones and somber stones that you can pick up. So if you wanted some more for whatever reason, it does give you some somber 4s and some smithing 5s. I buffed at this point because normally nobody chases me, because buffing directly outside of the boss room, there's always enemies shooting at you. So I just buffed early, but there was somehow still a guy there. But this boss can be kind of tricky, but we have a +5 weapon, so it's not even going to be that big of a deal. Just use like your weapon arts and you see how much damage that does do. It has like 40% of his health, or maybe 30% of his health, and like one hit. If you die, just try again, you'll be right. But he can be kind of a dick sometimes. But I fight him a bunch because this guy is like the earliest that you can actually go get a Somber 6. You actually can get a Somber 6 in the Volcano Manor as well. So if you don't want to kill this guy, you can go pay a trip to the Volcano Manor. And then at that point, you can go kill the Godskin Noble. Because the Godskin Noble actually gives you a Somber... After the Godskin Noble, you can get a Somber 7. Then you can go get a Somber 8 and a Somber 9 at the Dragonbarrow. And then you can have a +9 weapon at that point. Which will probably end up taking like another like 20 minutes. Because the Volcano Manor is not that far off. But yeah, at that point, I just upgraded my weapon to +6. And now you saw that before 45 minutes. Look at that. Didn't even reach the 45-minute mark. And there actually is a golden seed next to that shack as well that you can go pick up because the girl that, I forget her name, but she teleports and leaves a golden seed. But yeah, that's that. That's done. After this point, I recommend just going back to the Weeping Peninsula and all areas in Limgrave that you missed out on getting golden seeds or sacred tears. Go to the Outer Plateau as well because there's a bunch of like golden seeds over there that you can go pick up. Definitely do Sylvanas' questline because he gives you the magic scorpion charm. Probably get the Carrion Regal. Carrion Regal Scepter is good, but it's only like at 70 intelligence. The Carrion Feelygood Crest, that's the one I'm talking about. That's the one decreases FP cost. Definitely go pick that one up as well. What else would you need? I don't know. If I think of something, I'll write it on the screen. But that's basically it. That's all you gotta do. Everything fucking dies at this point. If you want me to like make something else, like whether it's like a faith-based one or like intelligence, or already made intelligence, dexterity, strength, arcane, just let me know down in the comments, and I'll probably try my best to make it. Definitely do like and subscribe, and do follow me on Twitch as well, because I am live there every single day doing some random stupid challenge runs. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. See yas, bye.